to switch gears now, though, and talk about the tensions in the Middle East as Israel and Hamas militants are unleashing airstrikes as world leaders ramp up calls for a ceasefire. Joining us once again from Tel Aviv, Israel, is contributing correspondent from Axios, Barak Ravid. Barak, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
Now, tell me a little bit, we've kind of been going day by day with the developments of what's happening there. What is the latest on the ground in Israel today?
Well, I think that the most important thing that we see right now is that even though both sides are still shooting at each other, there is this momentum of both sides starting to talk more and more about a ceasefire. Israeli officials I spoke to several hours ago told me that they think that there is a good possibility that in the next 24 hours, there will be a breakthrough that could lead to a ceasefire. Senior Hamas officials, for example, Musa Abu Marzouk, the deputy head of Hamas's political wing, also said that he thinks it will take another 24 to 48 hours. The Egyptians are working very hard with the Hamas leadership in Gaza, while UN envoy Tor Vensland is in Doha, Qatar, to speak to the Hamas leadership outside of the Gaza Strip. And any decision of a ceasefire will be taken by both Hamas in Gaza and Hamas in Qatar.
There seems to be a lot of top officials, as you just pointed out there, discussing this ceasefire. We also know President Joe Biden has spoken with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu 4 times in the past week and a half.
Yes.
Just yesterday, the White House National Security Advisor, that's Jake Sullivan, he tweeted out this, saying that the U.S. is engaged in intensive diplomacy with Egypt and Israel. Do you see the U.S., Barak, playing a significant role in working towards that agreement?
Well, I think what we see in recent days is growing pressure by the Biden administration on the Israeli government to agree to engage on ceasefire talks, because for many, many days, the Israelis refused to engage with the Egyptians and with the UN on ceasefire talks. And yesterday, I think, was the call between Biden and Netanyahu. A source I spoke to who was briefed on the call told me that Biden was very firm, and that basically his overall message was, we're done kidding around, just end it. That was basically his message. This doesn't mean that, that the call wasn't polite, but the message was very firm. And I think that the Israelis are starting to understand that. And again, I think that many in the Israeli government want to end this operation too.
Let me ask you also, Barak, there's a lot of speculation over how Israelis are viewing Prime Minister Netanyahu's leadership amid all of this conflict. Do you think this has helped or hurt his re-election plans?
Well, I think it's a mixed picture, meaning, the politics here is divided at least as much as it is in America. Meaning Netanyahu has his base. His base will vote for him no matter what. He has the people who oppose him. They will oppose him no matter what. And in the middle, there's a very, very, very narrow group of people who can switch sides and move from, the right-wing bloc to the center-left bloc. Still, I think that the current crisis in Gaza will not leave Israelis feeling that the situation has improved. So I think that Netanyahu's situation, if we will go for a 5th election, which is very likely that in 2-3 months we will be in another election, the current crisis in Gaza, I don't think helps Netanyahu's re-election at all.
Interesting. You touched a bit on the division in Israel and in the U.S. as well, and it seems lawmakers in Congress remain divided on the Middle East tensions. New York Congressman Lee Zeldin had some strong words about that conflict. Let's take a quick listen.
Israel has an inherent right of self-defense. Hamas is a terrorist organization and an Iranian proxy that seeks to wipe Israel off the map. They had actually put it into their charter calling for jihad.
Barak, what was your take on those comments?
Look, I got to tell you something. I don't want to weigh in too much into U.S. politics. First, because I'm not that big of an expert. And second, because, I have enough politics here in Israel. But there's one thing I do want to say. to both Democrats and Republicans. There are many issues that divide America and that Republicans and Democrats are fighting about, and things are becoming more and more divisive. Really just keep Israel outside of U.S. politics. Don't use us as, political football. We have enough problems. We don't need Democrats and Republicans fighting each other over issues that have nothing to do with us, about the last elections, about, you name it, January 6th, whatever, okay? And using Israel in this debate. You want to talk about the Middle East and Israel, we can have a discussion when I guess both Republicans and Democrats will have a lot to say, but don't do it from the prism of the domestic political debate in the U.S.
Keep Israel out as a political football. Strong words there from Barak Ravid. Barak, thank you so much, as always, for joining us and your insight as well.
Thank you very much.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.